DW Africa Link.
Nigeria's security has deteriorated in recent years. Abductions, killings, terrorism, and violent crimes across several regions. The government believes that introducing state police is key to securing the nation. Now, for this to happen, President Bola Tinubu has asked the country's Senate to amend the 1999 Constitution, which allows for only one police force in the country, the Nigerian Police Force, which operates under the federal government. Even before this amendment is finalized, Nigerians are sharply divided.
Okay, I think state police is very, very key, very important. We actually need state police because, number one, it creates job opportunity for the young populace. Number two, it also makes security in the suburb.
The only disadvantage I see is not politicians to intervene because, Nigerians now, we use politics everywhere. So I don't want a situation whereby politicians will now be using them for their own means.
What difference will this state police bring to Nigeria's policing? And how will it improve security? Stay with us for more. This is Africa Link, the podcast that connects you to the stories that matter across the African continent. And my name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
Nigeria is seeking to amend its constitution to legalize state police, a move that would empower localities and states to address their own security challenges rather than relying solely on a centralized system. If passed, all 36 states will have independent police forces. Now, many Nigerians view this as a crucial step toward tackling insecurity, but critics are worried. They warn that granting state governors direct control over law enforcement could lead to political misuse, including intimidation of opponents, suppression of dissent, and deepening partisan divides, which are all concerns rooted in the country's history. Now, the key question is the lack of state police truly the reason for Nigeria's insecurity? Will this move be a cure-all for Nigeria's security woes, or does it pose new risk? To help us unpack these questions, I'm joined by defense and security analyst Larry Imokwede and DW's Ben Sherman from Nigeria. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ben, from your reporting on the grounds, you've been engaging quite a number of people. What does the ordinary Nigerian think about this state police system?
The idea is that these state police, these are people who are indigenous in those states, and they know the terrains, they tend to know everybody. And because of the insecurity in the country, people are feeling that if there are more recruitments of indigenes, of people around, of course, there's going to be security because you cannot have the federal police far off in Abuja or far off in state quarters when there are villages under attack and when they do need some help security-wise. They are not readily available because of distance, because of topography, because of quite a lot of other things. Yes, Nigerians are looking for it.
Who gets to appoint the people who would go into these various localities? Is this still going to be from the centralized Nigerian police at Abuja, or it is going to be in the hands of the local governors?
Yes, you see, by the nature of the name itself, the nomenclature, state police, there has to be a law to be enacted by the National Assembly, and the president will assent that into law. And once assented into law, it simply means every state governor can now have its own state police, recruit indigenes, recruit people living in those states. Not necessarily all of them must be indigenes, but in as much as you reside there. So the control will be partially, almost 90% state-owned, but the federal government will have a say in terms of even importing the arms and all that, because there has to be a control system of guns, ammunition, and all that stuff. So yes, the control will be police, will be state-owned.
Very well. Let me bring in Larry at this point. Larry, the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 214, subsection 1, establishes the Nigerian Police Force as the only police force for the country. And I believe this is what President Tinubu wants to get amended. Yeah. What changes are you anticipating will be included in this state police system?
Let's look at how this constitution, when it was written and the interest is served. It was written during the colonial times and then amended by the military administrators. So it served certain purpose, but the challenges we're having now has outlived this purpose. Take, for instance, the security situation that has bedeviled this country now. You are looking at a whole lot of ungoverned spaces, and also with a centralized system of approach to governance. It's become obvious to everybody that it just will not work. But for us to make the changes, it means that there have to be constitutional amendments. But if you listen to the hue and cry of virtually everybody in the country, because security affects everybody, including the so-called the senators and the National Assembly members. So I don't see it as a problem at all. I mean, passing that litmus test.
Help us understand what really we think the state police is going to solve.
Because look at a situation where something goes wrong, you need permission from the federal. And we're talking about a population of 250 million people with conflicting interests. This conflicting interest is going to be decentralized. So it's like every locality, every state will have their own peculiar problems and have a peculiar and provide a peculiar solution. Unlike a situation where the man at the center is the man that knows all the solutions, is the man that tries to find, address all the different complaints, from a centralized viewpoint. I don't think that has ever worked anywhere.
Right. Ben, I'll bring you in at this point. The first criticism I have seen on this state police system is that it perhaps is going to give the local authorities, local political authorities, too much power than they perhaps even have at the moment. And it may be at risk of people using the police, the state police, to their personal gain. I mean, people in places or positions of power. Does this criticism resonate with some sections of the public, Ben?
Yes, it does. Bearing in mind that there are instances on ground where some governors became so powerful and are still so powerful to the extent that even when they don't have the state power in terms of having the police to deal with people, they still use the federal police to effect arrest, to effect detention, sometimes without trial. I'll cite some examples. There used to be Abba Jalingo in Cross River State, and there used to be also the governor there, Governor Ben, who at a point, because of criticism, he would just carry that journalist, and of course he was always being detained. Then if you come to Kaduna State, we had El Rufai, who at the point to many human rights activists like Stephen Kefas, Luca Binyat, and a whole lot of others. In fact, at the point today, there's still a journalist or a human rights activist that has not been found for close to 3 years now. So there is the forward and backward as to who is responsible, which governor Is it that of Kano? Is it that of Kaduna? Even the governors at the point were exchanging some banters. So in other words, yes, we've seen some instances where some governors have, brought to some powers that they don't have. But that does not mean that we should just simply say, we fear the governors, we use it wrongly, therefore we cannot have a state police. The demand for it is still strong, and many Nigerians are indeed saying they need it. Even though sometimes you find past inspectors general of police and very top echelons of the police force, some will say Nigeria is not yet ripe for it. When will it be ripe? When you have all sorts, there is no state that is not having security challenges. If you go to the southeastern part of Nigeria, where you have the IPOP or the Biafran movement, you have a group called the Ndibo Worldwide. The president of that body is known as Mazi Ben Wanko. He's saying that every region should simply have regional police, that states should not have police. Every state will just have, there are now 36 states. Whereas those days at independence, we had just southeastern region, northern region, southwest region, then we had midwest region. So all these regions should just simply have their own police force that it will take care of what is supposed to be a bogus community police, state police. So this is their own stand. The Igbo people, some of them actually want regional police, not state police.
I have also heard that the problem with Nigerian security is not necessarily the absence of institutions or creating new, policing forms, but having that political will, taking better decisions, to protect the people of Nigeria. To this and to the earlier criticism, what do you say, Larry?
I'll be very, very honest with you. A whole lot of things must change if we expect to have the kind of policemen, the desired policemen that we need, that will address the problems of society, address the challenges, and what have you. You see, over the years, most things in Nigeria, and that includes the security apparatus, we've been infected with this virus of politics. Everything has been politicized. A situation where a president would rather have a man who is loyal to him or somebody who probably served as his aide-de-camp or whatever over the years, and then by the time he's now president, he brings him on board as the Inspector General of Police. In other words, meritocracy had been sacrificed on the altar of politics. If state police means that we are going to have the best amongst us, to be in charge of the administration, the recruitment, the deployments, and all, that is why we say we need state police. But if we are going to go back to the situation where he who pays the Pied Piper dictates the tune, where the man who holds the lever of power is the one who is going to dictate who is going to be the head and who is going to be the appointees. Going to find any solution. That's right. Yeah, and I hope when we have this, if eventually the government assists to this demand and then they agree to it, and states have to be in charge of their recruitment, those who they bring on board to head the institutions. There must be men who are above board. There must be men who subject themselves to a different kind of mindset and ideas, and even the process that brings them about must be something different from what we used to have.
As a person, as an ordinary Nigerian, really, what are you expecting the state police to do for you if you have security challenges in your vicinity, in your locality, in your neighborhood?
What we have, what we expect, and what we hope for is that the police that will be very, very, very vastly trained, very, very, very well equipped, more than we have. A policeman that has an ear to the ground. What I mean by that, you know, we must be preemptive, you know, in our assessments, in our dealings with challenges. We cannot have a policeman that reacts to a situation after the chicken has left the barn, you know, if you know what I mean by that. We want a process that brings about the very, very best amongst us, and people who are willing, not necessarily because of the perks, you know, that the gains and the emoluments, and of course, those are part of it. I mean, to whom much is given, much is expected. But we want to be sure that if we give you the best, we get the best out of you. And the policing must be international in nature, not really local. And for you to get that, you must subject them and you must make available to them the best training that is available anywhere in the world, you know, which cannot be done through a centralized system, because then all the normal evil and vices of politics comes in, ethnicism, religion. There are all the several divides, you know, that makes us not to bring the best amongst us. I want a system that brings up the best, that can live up to modern police challenges anywhere in the world.
Very well. I'll come to you for your last comment, but Ben, let me return now to you. What is the current status of the legislative process, the amendment of the Constitution?
The president has been hammering this. Talking of President Bola Tinubu, he has told the governors, look, let there be modalities for every state to have this, even when the law is being expected. In the Plateau State, and many other states are doing same. And before all of this, you could see that the southwestern part of the country, they've been having an informal kind of a security network. They call it Amotekun, you know. So this is a group that they will simply transform into state police. And throughout this Nigeria, you just see that every state has what they call a vigilante group, a kind of some people just being trained to provide security within their vicinity, within their localities. So I foresee that since we have 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, we're going to have the national police, then the state police, even at the local government level. But like Larry Mokwede said, you see, coming from the colonial background, when you had police force, people are now saying, remove that word force, so that it becomes people-friendly. This is Nigerian police, this is state police. But when you add force there and you give them that gun, of course they tell you this power is there with the gun and they can use it anytime, anyhow they want. So we expect too that in terms of this recruitment at the local government, recruit people around to be in charge of local governments. Where you cannot recruit more or the local government has enough, then the state recruits what is left. If the state recruits and there are still left over, those people will go to federal, so that you now have layers of security, policing the society. We have community policing.
Very well. Thank you so much, Ben Adam Shaman, DW correspondent in Nigeria. Larry, let me wrap up with as a security expert, I would want you to advise the state police if, you know, it is approved for it to take force. What would be your advice for the leadership of the state police, for the governors who would oversee the state police, and for the force as well, bearing in mind that the whole world is looking at Nigeria and its security challenges and how it is hoping to improve the situation?
Thank you for this question. What I would really suggest or advise the governors should not be left alone to just appoint whoever is going to be in charge of various state commissioners, as it were, in Nigeria today. Probably set up a committee of eminent personalities, people of proven character and integrity, to look at a pool, select from a pool of resource persons. When I say resource persons, I'm talking about interested parties who want to serve as leaders or headship of these local policing organizations. From them, we can subject all of them through the litmus test and pick the best among them, people who have been found worthy in terms of experience, in terms of exposure, and in terms of character. From them, we can choose. Of course, the state governors will be the ones who will fund it, and after approvals from the State House of Assembly. Again, too, they must understand the exigencies of the time, that the security, the growing insecurity we're having in Nigeria is not going to wait for people's convenience. So it's like a stitch in time saves 9, the earlier the better, and give it all attention. But again, thereafter, let us not rush into it, just packing people from the same Nigerian policemen in Abuja, federal, recruit some local people with political influence and what have you, and then wear them uniforms and call them policemen. That will be horrible and horrendous. Select people through a process that is found to be very clean and very honest, and then take them through serious training at different layers of leadership, both at the officer level, and then the troops, the groundsmen and all. And then this training must be a periodic, when I say a periodical thing, it's an endless exercise. It never ends as long as you are in that organization. Just like we have in the military. That's why most militaries are much more effective than policemen, because the training never ends.
Can Nigeria afford that at the moment, that consistent training you're talking about?
If we understand that our lives and our properties that we value so much depends on security, then the other monies that we spend on frivolities should be directed at the training of those who are going to safeguard our lives and properties.
Very well. Yeah. Thank you so much, Larry Imokuede. He is a defense and security analyst. Earlier, you heard DW correspondent from Nigeria, Ben Adamshima. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me.
Nigeria's Inspector General of Police says the State Police Initiative is here to stay. The police have established a committee to explore how to make this new approach more effective. Let's hear from some Nigerians in Abuja about their thoughts on this development.
For me, I think having state police would be a great idea, because state police members, their staff, they know the terrain of their locality, so they'll be able to combat crime. They'll be able to bring intelligence and even job opportunities will also be there.
The only disadvantage I see is not politicians to intervene, because, Nigerians now, we use politics everywhere. So I don't want a situation where a politician will now be using them for their own means.
Well, at the end of the day, what the ordinary Nigerian need is enough security, enough safety to not worry about sending their children to school or worry about going to the mosque or to the church to worship, or not even having to worry about leaving their house due to insecurity. Experts believe the new policing regime will help localities combat crime more efficiently. What do you also think? Share your thoughts with us on Facebook at DW Africa, Listen to us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Mugabe. My name is Ajua Tenkrama Domina. Many thanks for listening.
DW, made for minds.